Hello everyone, this is Zooc and today I'm bringing you a new logo design video. This one is actually going to be for my own channel. I decided it was about time that I spruced up my identity a bit, refreshed it, made something a bit more lifelike, more lively, more dynamic, more colorful, and got rid of that old thing I've had there for over 4 years now. That logo was a total rush job. I did it in 2011 because I needed something to put on my channel after I got partnered, so I don't want to wait too long with it. But in the back of my mind, I always wanted to change it for something else. So since I started streaming, I thought this would be an interesting process to show people how I go about doing this stuff from scratch. And it's a kind of design that's quite popular nowadays with a lot of streamers, YouTubers, just internet personalities. This sort of like cartoony style of mascot or caricature, I guess you could call it. Something that can be used as a branding element, especially for situations where it's more about the one person and their personality rather than a company or a corporate entity. So I think it's quite cool. Plus, towards the end of the video, I made well, you're probably not going to see it at this speed, but I was going through all the social media stuff, placing my banner and the logo on all the stuff. There was this one website that had like all the sizes, all the relevant sizes for the social media stuff, and that was quite helpful. So the process went as follows. I started in Manga Studio, making some sketches for the face, just to test out what it looks like, get some various expressions going on, resizing a few elements. I guess this is like the easiest way to go about it now, rather than sketching on paper. I'm usually a big fan of sketching this stuff on paper, but with this amount of fiddling that I had to do, I think having all the elements individually selectable is a major time saver. So this expression is it's something that I've been stuck with for a while now. It's kind of like I guess you could qualify it as smug in one word. I was trying to stay away from a too aggressive look because some people pointed out that it kind of looks like a rapey face, kind of like psycho face, but I'm just trying to achieve that expression that I'm going for without being too rapey about it, without going into that whole thing at all. Like my current logo has worked well, and nobody has pointed out that it looks like shit. Even though now that I look at it, I can like trash it to smithereens with no problem. The expression is kind of like confusing. You can't tell if he's surprised or if he's angry or if he's smiling or happy. It's like kind of a mixed, confusing expression that he has on the face, mostly because of the line work that was a bit amateurish, and I was really at the beginning back then. Like I wasn't a designer when I made this logo. Basically, you can put it like that. Not for this kind of stuff, at least. Like I had no experience with it, but I've kept it because it's just been there everywhere. But there's no reason not to upgrade if you have the chance. So I wanted to stick with kind of what we know already. The pencils that I had on the old logo were taken from some not clip art, but just some vector stuff that I had in my stash, and they totally didn't fit the style of the drawn face. They were very bright and very gradienty and shiny, and it just like kind of stood out badly. So I wanted to revamp that as well and just have everything look unified and look like it came from one place. So instead of two pencils, I decided to use one pencil and a stylus for a tablet because most of the stuff I'm doing now is digital. And on top of that, I wanted to have a form of text that I can just post anywhere that's needed with the name of my channel, Zooc Does Stuff. And as for the coloring part, that was rather straightforward. I'm working with gradients because this logo is never really going to be printed anywhere. And even if it was, digital printing is quite popular nowadays, so that's not really a problem. But I highly doubt it's ever going to be needed in print. So this is a technique that's quite popular with people that make mascots for various companies or people. It's just like a selection-based method with very soft gradients and softening the edges in some bits just to make stuff pop out but not be too exaggerated in terms of how much gradient is going on there. It's just like you select an area and then you apply a soft gradient, you erase some parts of it, and it makes the shapes pop out really well. But it just looks really fresh, I think. So I really enjoy using this method as often as possible when I can. if my clients allow me to. If not, well, tough. It happens. And that's pretty much it. Like, this process in total took about, I'd say, 10 hours with a bunch of crashing of my recordings. So in essence, I guess it would have taken 7 hours. And soon enough, I'm going to start working on the text. But what you see me there doing is coloring the outlines a lot. I find that it's very good to not leave the outlines in black because it pops out a bit too much. Some elements can stay in black on the face, and that's up to the person to decide which, depending on their style of line art. But it's better to just make the line work just a darker tone of the object it's encompassing. So for a face, it would be like a darker brown, and for hair, it would be an even darker and maybe more or less saturated depending on the hair color. As for the text, this is a hand-drawn font that I just vectorized and then applied a 3D effect to an Illustrator. I was going for kind of a Rayman Legends sort of effect, but that didn't quite work out. But in the end, I was still happy with what it looked like. It's just a couple of layers with some fiddled effects and inner glows and all that stuff, with some sort of cracked wall texture applied on top. I think it's just very bright and it pops out a lot. And I like orange the most now to work with. I think it's my favorite color when it comes to this sort of stuff. What I'm doing now is creating a generic pattern that I can just apply as a background to all the various social media stuff and banners and pictures that are needed. It's like a combination of a spatula to signify the cooking part of my channel, which is gaining a bit more prominence, and the stylus, which is obviously the artistic side. And that's basically it. I just wanted to create like one unified sort of image that would just go everywhere, and something that pops out and is really visible from a distance and really like pops out in color wise. And yeah, I think it works out pretty well and people seem to dig it. I think it's way better than what I had previously anyway. Like, I was kind of going for a minimalistic thing previously, but I don't think it worked out that well with the style of logo I had. Like, the text and the white simple negative space would have worked rather well if the logo was to match. But the logo was colorful and it had thick line work, and there was a little dissonance going on there. So anyway, that's going to be it for now. In case you missed it, the previous announcements, I am streaming weekly now. I'm actually managing to keep up somewhat of a schedule, mostly on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at around 6 p.m. Europe time, Central Europe time, on Twitch TV/Zoocster. So give me a follow if you want to catch any more of this stuff in the future. Please rate the video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.